Hey, this is Yulong. In today's video, I want to talk about my broken ankle. Now, some of you might come here looking for Achilles tendon rupture recovery videos. I do have those. I originally created this channel to document recovery from Achilles tendon rupture. That was a year and a half ago. So if you're interested in that, please check out my channel for those videos. However, about a month and a half ago, I broke my ankle and I have to go for surgery. And now it's been a month after my surgery. I want to talk about the recovery for that too. I already made a video to talk about the first 2 weeks after the surgery. So in today's video, I want to cover the week 3, 4, 5, basically up to the first month after my broken ankle surgery. So starting at week 3, where am I? I was in a cast, still non-weight bearing, but in a much better shape. The pain was mostly gone now. I don't feel much pain anymore unless if I put my foot down, like if I'm standing with my foot down or sitting. Within 1 to 2 minutes, the swelling is gonna be so bad and I can feel the pain. And other times, there are still some swelling, but the pain was like almost, not visible. I can stand with my knee on the chair for like 10 minutes, without worrying too much about the pain or anything. I can also sit as long as my leg is flat, not put down, and that's also okay. In week 3, I also don't have to elevate my leg during the sleep. So I can just, sleep as is. So that was good. In week 3, I also drove for the first time. I think the first time I drove for 15 minutes. There's no major issues. I think I'm lucky because I broke my left leg and I can still use my right leg to drive, right? What I did is, you can see how I drove here. I just put a towel down underneath my, left leg, sort of as a buffer. And then, and that kind of worked out for me. However, there was a time that I have to drive for 1.5 hours. After that, my leg was, my foot was, visibly swollen and I can feel the pain. So that was definitely not good. In week 3, I also have a doctor follow-up. Now, if you remember from the last video, the doctor's protocol is to put me in a cast for 3 weeks after I transition out from the splint, which I will have for 2 weeks or 10 days. So I don't want to stay in cast for that long. So I talked with my doctor and asked them to transition me out of the cast after 1 week. And week 3 is the date. So I went there, they cut off the cast, they check out my wounds, they say the healing was pretty good, and the swelling is also good, like it's reasonable, it's not too bad. The doctor also pressed my ankle area to see if there's any bad pain, and I don't feel much pain, honestly. There's just light discomfort, or maybe just level 1 in terms of pain level out of 10 when they pressed it. So actually, it looks like the healing is pretty good, so they're okay with me being in a boot. My timeline was like the first, I think, 12 days or first 2 weeks, I was in a splint. Then I was in a cast for another week. And then I'm being put in a boot, a walking boot. Of course, I already had my boot from the Achilles tendon rupture, so I used the boot. The doctor also allowed me to shower because now I'm in the boot. So they say it's okay to shower, but I cannot submerge my foot there yet. Of course, they also allow me to do the range of motion exercise for my broken ankle. That is, what I'm looking for. That's why I want to transition out of the cast so that I can actually move my ankle a little bit. Of course, week 3, I'm still non-weight bearing. I have to wait until week 5. But that was already a huge good news. So yeah, that's a doctor follow-up. Compare wearing a boot versus the cast at week 3. I would say wearing cast is so much better in every aspect. Now the cast is lighter because it's made of fiberglass. The boot is just heavy. Cast is also smaller. It takes up less space. That becomes very apparent when I use the iWalk, because you bend your knees and you put it on your iWalk, and your leg is sort of on your back, and with the boots, it's very easy to sort of bump on other stuff because it's just bulkier, it's bigger. The cast is also cooler because it's breathable. The material, it's also thinner, I think, than the boots. The cast is also more customized, like it fits better to my leg because it's wrapped around tightly, so that's sort of customized to fit my foot, right? Whereas the boots, it's still good, but it's different. As a matter of fact, particularly around week 3, because it's still in early stage, when I wear the boot, I can feel it's less secure than the cast. It's not like it's loose or it's wiggling, but I can feel spaces around my ankle, if that makes sense. Like more space. I don't feel any space when I was wearing the cast. The cast is super secure, but the boot was not, definitely. Wearing cast is just a lot more comfortable, okay? And sleeping with boot is also a trouble for me. I don't know about you guys, but sleeping with cast is something I already used to, but sleeping with a boot, that got me kind of trouble for a couple days. But everything's a trade-off. I consciously made the decision, and that was because wearing a boot, it gives me 2 things. First, I can take out the boot and I can do exercises. That's the thing I'm looking for. In the cast, I can still do toe exercises, but that's it. There's nothing else I can do. With the boot, once I take off the boot, I can do anything I want as long as I don't bear any weight on my ankle. So that's a big thing. And second thing is I can also ice my ankle directly. I think it helps the swelling management. Everything is a trade-off. You have to make decision. There's good and bad, but if this is something you're looking for, but this is not medical advice, so don't listen to me. This is only for my situation. Please consult with your doctor. I did talk with my doctor and telling them what I need, and they say, okay, in that case, it kind of makes sense for me to get out the cast earlier. With the boot, I can also shower with my leg, but I actually didn't do that because I think I was still non-weight bearing, probably from the Achilles tendon rupture experience. I don't want to shower with my bare foot because if I happen to fall down, things like that, right? I just want to avoid that. So even I was in a boot now, I'm still showering with my boot on, with the cast protector wrapped around the boot. I can wait. I'm patient in terms of that. So that was week 3. A lot has happened there. In week 4, honestly, it was just keep getting better. I start doing a lot of exercises because I was in a boot now. I will talk about the exercises later. In week 4, I also start using iWalk a lot, mostly because the swelling is okay. One thing about using iWalk though, I find putting it on and taking it off is quite tedious. What I did is I usually try to consolidate the things that I want to do with the iWalk. Like basically iWalk allows you to move around with your hands free, right? So I try to consolidate that so that I only wear the iWalk 3 to 4 times a day. And every time I use iWalk, I try to do as many things as possible so that I don't have to take it on and take it off so many times. I still use crutches for the rest of the time. I also have a scooter, but at home I don't use the scooter because it's very hard to maneuver around with such a limited space. Even at the outdoor, I think it highly depends on the how good your ground is. Like in our neighborhood, the ground is not quite even. There are like small rocks, and there are also uneven bricks. The scooter is just highly susceptible to those unevenness, and it makes sort of the scooter super unstable. It's very hard to control. So I actually don't use scooter that much. I use like maybe twice, and I'll use it when I when I have to walk the long distance, which is something I try to avoid at this point. In week 4, I also starting to put my leg down to the ground, like my foot to the ground. I try to spend more time like that to see how's it going. It's getting a little bit better. Like I can actually, I think in week 4, I can actually put my foot down for the entire meal. Let's say so I would say 15-20 minutes. I try to still have a quick meal so that I don't have to put my foot down for that much of time. Or in the bathroom, I can also just let my foot down without too much issues. Rest of the time I still trying to elevate my leg. Then it's week 5. I'm reading my notes. The biggest thing in week 5 is I was able to walk again. If you remember, my doctor's protocol is to follow up at week 5 and do x-ray and see if I'm able to do weight bearing again. I changed the protocol a little bit to do the first visit at week 3 to get out of the cast, but week 5 is the check to decide whether I'm allowed to walk or not. And my x-ray showed my bone heals pretty well. So my doctor says yes. Actually, my doctor becomes kind of aggressive at that time. He's pounding my heel, saying do you feel the pain? This to kind of simulate the weight bearing. And he was also asking me to try full weight bearing right at that time, because he says as long as my bone heals well, based on the x-ray, I should be able to do full weight bearing without worrying too much about anything else. So yeah, that's that's definitely a good day, September 24th, a day to remember. I broke my ankle on August 17th, and I haven't been able to use my left leg since then. So it's been a little bit more than a month. Finally, September 24th, I was able to walk again. Of course, with a boot, right? So my doctor told me that I will follow up with him again a month from now to see if I can walk with my barefoot now. Although he says at home, if I feel safe, I should be able to just walk with a barefoot. Outside, or most of the time, I still have to weight bear with my boots. But yeah, as long as I'm okay with it, he even suggests me to just walking with my barefoot at home. And he approves me to also sleep with my barefoot. There's no need for the boots anymore, which is gonna be very good for me. I can submerge in the cold water, which means I can go swimming. And I also can do all kinds of exercises like biking. I can start PT. In terms of weightlifting, my doctor says I should still wait for a little bit more, give time for my ankle to get used to the weight, get used to the body weight before I put on extra weight, which I think makes sense. Okay, so that was the doctor visit. On the same day, I actually tried walking. It was interesting. I still feel pain around a lot of places on my foot. The tendon is definitely feeling the pain. I think it's probably because it's too tight. It hasn't been used for quite a while. I feel the pain in the wound area, which I assume it's scar tissue, but I also feel pain around the foot. And I guess that's just because, again, I haven't used this foot for quite a long time, and it's maybe the muscle is missing. It's just trying to get used to everything. But I was already able to just use single crutch. I can already lose one crutch. So that gives me, I guess, about 50% weight on my broken ankle. So I'm definitely happy with that. I don't wanna put too much pressure on my broken ankle yet. I think in the next video I'm gonna cover in more details how I basically learned to walk again. But yeah, it's been good. I love the fact that I can finally walk now. It's just a lot different. I can do stuff without relying on the iWalk too much. It feels a lot closer to the normal lifestyle. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is exercise. Even if you are still in the cast, there are still exercises that you can do. Actually, it will be really, really beneficial if you can do the exercises in terms of recovery. The first thing you can do is just a lot of different toe exercises. You can wiggle the toe. I think what they call is toe yoga. You can move the big toe ups and downs, keep the rest of them in the opposite direction. You can also doing toe crunch. You can try to crunch the toe. Then you can also spread the toe. These are actually quite interesting because I can feel the muscle on my leg sometimes is activated while I'm doing the toe exercise. So I guess maybe the nerves or somehow they connected with each other. That's why it kind of motivated me. When you were in the cast, you're also non-weight bearing, you really couldn't do anything, especially for your calf. Moving the toes can actually keep them activated so that they just don't go to sleep. So that's toe exercises. There's also exercises for other parts of your injured leg, like your quad, your hamstring, your glute. I recommend you to do those as well. There's a lot of videos on YouTube talking about how to do those. You can search for non-weight bearing exercises or exercises in a cast. Mostly are very basic, just like raise your leg, contracting your leg, curl your leg, that kind of stuff. And it's not intense. I think the purpose is mostly just to preserve some sort of basic level of the muscle on your injured leg. Because of non-weight bearing, right? You basically cannot use that leg at all. Essentially, while you are doing those exercises every day, it's like simulates your leg is used for walking or moving, as if you were like normal, right? So I think that's actually pretty critical. You do want to preserve some kind of muscle there so that when you are non-weight bearing, so when you are weight bearing again, these parts of muscle can keep up, right? So those are for your injured leg. Of course, I also do upper body exercises. Pull up I think I already mentioned it before. I think around week 4 and 5, I also start going to my garage. That's where most of my equipments are. I can use dumbbells, very light ones, to start like doing some lifting without putting any weight on my ankles. So I think that's been helpful as well. So that was while I was in the cast. When I was in the boot, I can do a lot more, of course, once I take off the boot. So what I did in addition to the toe exercises is first I massage my foot. I use the massage bar or use a ball to sort of massage the ball of my foot. So definitely I don't want to touch the ankle area, the wound area, but I think massage the ball of my foot could help loosening the Achilles tendon and some other tendons around the foot area, I believe. The second thing is just do ankle pump, like moving ups and downs until I feel stiffness or I feel hurt. At the beginning, I use my hand to sort of manipulate my ankle ups and downs, but then I gradually start doing ups and downs with the ankle itself. I think that definitely helps in terms of the range. The third thing I start doing is just trying to pump my calf, like contract my calf. At beginning, it's definitely terrible, but it gets better actually quite fast. I think this calf muscle activated better compared with when I had the Achilles tendon rupture. I would guess that's because the tendon is still there, the connection is still original. Like with the Achilles tendon rupture repair, you basically have to relearn the connection from the heel to the tendon to the calf. So the activation is not as strong as what I feel in my left leg. So I would say the calf grows faster than what I had in my right leg when I tried to recover from the Achilles tendon rupture. Other than that, I also start using resistant band for both the toe and the ankle movement towards week 5. Again, all these exercises, I asked my doctor first to make sure that they are okay. So you should do that too. If you want to do any exercises that I mentioned, you should always consult your doctor first. Okay, so that was it. That was week 3, 4, 5 for after my ankle surgery. To be honest, if I look back, I think there's a lot of change happened in these 3 weeks. It brings me from 20% to maybe 60% or 50% in terms of like how normal I am. It's definitely a step change, especially the week 5 that I can start weight bearing again. I couldn't be happier. On the other hand, I feel there's still such a long way to go, because when I weight bear, I just feel pain in so many places in my foot. So my body definitely is not ready. It's still taking its time. It still requires a lot of effort. So I expect the next month to be also like a step change. There's going to be a lot of difference. Hopefully by end of next month, I would be, let's say, taking myself from 50% to, let's say, 75 or 80%, back to normal life, hopefully. I don't think I'm going to go back to sports anytime soon, but let's see how far we can go. Okay, these are all my updates. Hopefully, it sort of helps you understand a little bit more about, broken ankle recovery. Again, the reason I'm making all these videos are just telling my story so that when others, whoever unfortunately suffer the same injury, could gain a little bit something. Because for me, when I broke my ankle, when I ruptured my Achilles tendon, I feel so, even if I didn't learn anything practically, I immediately feel much better when I watch others in their video going through the same thing. And even if their situation is a little bit different from mine, so hopefully my videos can help others as well. I think that's my purpose, and that's why I will keep making these videos. Cool. Yeah, that's the first month of my broken ankle. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you.